Oh, well, it sounds like you made your bed. Now you have to lie in it. Yeah, listen, I don't feel bad at all. You know, you betrayed someone who was there for you, who provided for you, who probably gave you everything you wanted. You probably told him, "I want to be treated like a queen and rest in my femininity." No, no, you ruined it.
A letter from Justine, my side of the story. Dear Mr. True, I never imagined I'd be writing something like this. I've seen the stories you read, the ones about men betrayed by the women they loved, and I know that most of your audience would immediately put me in the category of the villain. Maybe I am. Maybe I deserve it. But I want to tell my side of the story, not to excuse what I did, but to explain it, to let people know that there's always more to a story than just the surface details. My name is Justine, and I am the woman who destroyed her own marriage, the life we had. For 6 years, Labib and I were married. From the outside looking in, we had everything: wealth, security, and a love story that should have lasted forever. Labib was successful, brilliant, and determined. He built the life we had with his own hands, working harder than anyone I've ever known. We lived in a beautiful, sprawling home, and I never had to worry about money, bills, or the kinds of struggles that so many other couples face. I was a stay at home wife, something that I had once taken so much pride in. I took care of the house, cooked, and waited for my husband to return from his many business trips. At first, I convinced myself that I was lucky, that this was what marriage was supposed to be: stability, security, and loyalty. But as the years went on, something began to change. Or maybe I changed. The loneliness that consumed me. Labib was always gone. His job required him to travel constantly, and even when he was home, his mind was often elsewhere: business calls, emails, late night meetings in his study. I would sit in our massive home, alone, day after day, with no one to talk to, no one to share my thoughts with. I begged him, more times than I can count, to slow down, to spend more time with me, to remember that he had a wife who needed him. But Labib was driven. He would always say, "I'm doing this for us, Justine," and I believed him. But what good was a luxurious life if I had no one to share it with? And then he came back into my life, my ex, the man I had once loved before I met Labib. A mistake that cost everything. It started innocently enough: a text message, then a phone call. He reminded me of who I used to be before I became Labib's wife. With him, I felt seen again, felt desired, felt like a person instead of just someone waiting at home for her husband to return. I should have stopped it before it began. I should have walked away before things escalated, but I didn't. And eventually, we crossed a line that should have never been crossed. Labib caught us. I'll never forget that night. I'll never forget the look in his eyes, the way he just stood there, silent at first, as if his brain couldn't process what he was seeing. And then the explosion, the rage, the devastation, the heartbreak in his voice when he asked me, why? And all I could say was, I was lonely. But he didn't want to hear it. He left that night and he never came back. The divorce and the aftermath. The next few months were a nightmare. Labib refused to speak to me. Everything was handled through lawyers. He was cold, ruthless even, as if I was nothing more than a stranger who had wronged him. And in the end, he left me with half of our home's worth after we were forced to sell it. At first, I thought it was a victory. I had money, independence, and freedom. I convinced myself that I had gotten what I wanted, that Labib had been too controlling, too absent, and that I was better off without him. But the reality was far different. In just 1 year, I blew through the money. The house was gone. The lavish lifestyle disappeared. And my ex, The man I had risked everything for, he didn't want me anymore. I was no longer a prize to be won, but a woman who had ruined her own life. And now I am alone. Truly, completely alone. Labib's final words to me. The last thing Labib ever said to me was in a letter he sent through our lawyers. I read it over and over, and it haunts me to this day. I should have listened to my parents. They told me not to marry an American woman. I was foolish enough to believe that love could overcome everything. I was wrong. Those words cut deeper than anything else, because no matter what I tell myself, no matter how much I try to justify my actions, I know that I destroyed something precious. I proved every warning right. I don't know where Labib is now, but I know that wherever he is, he's doing just fine without me. He moved on, rebuilt his life, and likely found someone else, someone who would never make the same mistake I did. Regret that comes too late. I know people will say, I deserve this. Maybe I do. Maybe I was selfish, weak, and undeserving of a man like Labib. But I also know that I didn't set out to destroy my marriage. I didn't plan to hurt the man who gave me everything. I was just a woman who made the worst mistake of her life, and now I am left with nothing but regret. I wish I could tell Labib that I understand now, that I was wrong to think he was overreacting, that his pain was justified, that I was blind to the fact that his love for me was the reason he worked so hard. But it's too late for apologies. Some mistakes can never be undone. I never thought I'd be in this position, but here I am, trying to put into words just how far I've fallen since my divorce. It's been a year now, and every single day feels like I'm being forced to wake up to a life I never imagined for myself. I used to live in such a beautiful home, drive a nice car, and never once worried about money. Labib took care of everything. I never had to check a bank balance or think about bills. I was comfortable, secure, and honestly, I took it all for granted. Now, my life is unrecognizable. Reality hits getting a job. The first thing I had to face after running out of money was getting a job. I had never worked a real job in my life. Being a stay-at-home wife, I thought I had it all figured out. I'd take care of the home, and Labib would take care of me. That was the deal. But when the marriage ended, that deal ended too, and I found myself completely unprepared for the real world. I tried to stretch the divorce settlement as much as I could. I told myself I'd have plenty of time to figure things out before I needed to start working. But money disappears faster than you think when you have no real plan. Rent, groceries, insurance, car payments, and stupidly, an ex-boyfriend with his hands out. It all adds up, and before I knew it, I was watching my savings dwindle. I held on to my pride for as long as I could. The idea of working, of actually clocking in somewhere, taking orders, dealing with customers or coworkers, it felt beneath me. But when my bank account hit numbers I had never seen before, and not in a good way, I had no choice. I applied to dozens of jobs, and the rejection emails started rolling in. Apparently, being a stay-at-home wife isn't something you can put on a resume and expect people to be impressed. The jobs that were available to me were not glamorous. I wasn't stepping into some executive role with a corner office. No, I was applying to retail stores, receptionist jobs, and anything that didn't require a degree or years of experience. When I finally got hired as a receptionist at a dental office, I wanted to cry, not out of happiness, out of humiliation. Sitting behind that desk, answering phones, scheduling appointments, dealing with impatient customers, it was a far cry from the life I had before. The worst part? My boss is younger than me. I went from being a woman who never had to answer to anyone to taking instructions from a 27-year-old who reminds me every day how grateful I should be for this job. No help from family. In the beginning, I thought my family would step in. that they'd support me the way I used to support them, at least emotionally. But I was wrong. I called my sister, hoping she'd offer me some comfort, maybe let me stay with her until I got back on my feet. Instead, she hit me with, "Oh, so now you need help?" That response stung. I knew exactly what she meant. When I was with Labib, my family would constantly ask for money. Small loans here, expensive gifts there. And I always said no, not because I didn't want to help, but because I didn't want them treating Labib like a bank. He worked hard for what he had, and I wasn't about to let my family take advantage of that. Now they see me struggling, and instead of offering a helping hand, they've completely turned their backs on me. My mother barely calls, my cousins don't return my messages, and my sister made it clear that I'm on my own. I used to think that family would always be there, that no matter what happened, they'd support me. But the truth is, when you have money, everyone loves you. When you don't, you're nothing to them. The man I risked it all for, he's nowhere to be found. There's another part of my reality that's hard to admit, but I have to. The only person who still reaches out to me from my past life is the man I ruined everything for. And the only time he calls, when he needs money. I should have seen it coming. I was a fool to believe there was any real future with him. When everything fell apart, he was there at first, telling me things would be okay, making me feel like I had made the right choice. But as time went on and my money started disappearing, so did he. Now he only messages me when he needs something. And the worst part? Sometimes I still give in. Not because I want to, but because I hate feeling like I have no one. It's pathetic, I know. There are nights I lie awake thinking about how different my life could have been, how I could still be in my beautiful home, living the comfortable life I once had, but instead, I'm stuck in this small, barely furnished apartment, wondering how I let myself end up here. Seeing Labib move on. As if all of this wasn't enough, I recently found out that Labib has moved on. And not just with anyone, but with a woman from his work, a colleague. I don't even know why it hurt so much when I found out. I have no right to be upset. But the moment I saw a picture of them together, smiling, happy, it felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. She looks exactly like the kind of woman he deserves. Smart, put together, independent. She works alongside him at the college, probably discussing deep intellectual topics over coffee, something I could never do. She fits into his world in a way I never could. It stings to know that while I'm here, barely keeping my life together, he's thriving. He rebuilt his life, moved on, found someone new. And me? I'm stuck in the past, drowning in regret. Where do I go from here? I honestly don't know what the future holds for me. I thought I had time to figure things out, but this past year has shown me that time doesn't wait for anyone. The reality is, no one is coming to save me. I don't have a husband to take care of me anymore. My family doesn't care. The man I thought cared about me is nothing but a leech. I'm on my own, and that's the hardest thing to accept. I never imagined I'd be here struggling, paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet. I took so much for granted. I see that now. I just don't know how to fix it. For now, all I can do is keep showing up to work, keep paying my bills, and keep pretending like I have everything under control. But inside, I feel lost. In case anyone asks, yes, I've gone to therapy. That was 2 months after the divorce, and Labib had to pay for it. The therapy was recorded, and I listened to it over and over again. According to the actual first meeting with my therapist, she claimed she knew I suffered from a disorder, so she asked if it was okay for her to record our session, for me to have. I told her, absolutely. I wanted to add the attachments of the video, but they are too large, and I don't know how to send any other way. I am not tech savvy, but I remembered that I had these videos transferred into audio and text by my ex-boyfriend. I would listen and follow the text on my phone from time to time. If I still talked with my ex boyfriend, then I'd have him show me how to upload the video through email. I wouldn't be ashamed to share with you at all. I was actually thinking of putting the videos up on YouTube myself anyway. But here's my therapy discussion. That sort of helped me, but also didn't. Session 1: The Struggles After Divorce. Welcome back, Justine. How have you been feeling since our last session? The same, maybe worse. I wake up every morning feeling like my life is slipping further and further away from me. I don't know how I got here, and I don't know how to fix it. You've been saying that a lot. Feeling stuck, feeling lost. What's been the hardest part of adjusting since your divorce? Everything. The money problems, working a job I hate, not having any support from my family. Even just managing basic responsibilities. I've never had to handle things on my own before. I used to have structure. I had security. And now I feel like I'm drowning. Tell me about your job. How has that been going? It's exhausting. I hate it. I work as a receptionist at a dental office, and it's just constant stress. I forget things all the time. I lose track of tasks. I can't focus. I make careless mistakes, and my boss is always watching me like I'm about to screw up again. I feel like I can't keep up, like I'm not cut out for this kind of life. When you say you forget things, is that something new for you? Not really. I've always been forgetful, but it's worse now. I'll be in the middle of doing something and just completely lose track of what I was doing. My mind is always racing. I feel like I start 100 different things and finish none of them. And deadlines? I can't seem to keep up with those either. That must be frustrating. It is. And it's embarrassing. My coworkers probably think I'm an idiot. I try to focus. I really do. But it's like my brain won't cooperate. And when I finally sit down to get something done, I get distracted by the smallest thing. I don't understand why it's so hard for me. Justine, I want to pause here for a second. We've had several sessions now, and something keeps coming up. Your struggles with focus, forgetfulness, and managing responsibilities. I don't think this is just about the divorce or financial struggles. I think there may be an underlying issue at play. What do you mean? Have you ever been evaluated for ADHD? ADHD? No, that's a kid thing, right? Actually, no. ADHD often goes undiagnosed in women, especially when they were never hyperactive as kids. Many women don't find out they have it until adulthood, often when they start struggling with major life changes. What you're describing, forgetfulness, trouble focusing, difficulty completing tasks, feeling overwhelmed, it all sounds like classic ADHD symptoms. I don't know. I've always had problems paying attention, but I just thought I was lazy or something. And I guess I was always a little scatterbrained, but doesn't everyone struggle with that sometimes? There's a difference between occasional forgetfulness and the kind of chronic difficulty you've been describing. You've said yourself that these struggles have been a pattern throughout your life. Now that you're on your own, without structure or someone else managing things for you, your symptoms are becoming impossible to ignore. So you think I have ADHD? I can't diagnose you, but I strongly suspect it. And I think it's affecting your ability to cope with everything happening in your life right now. I'd like to refer you to a psychiatrist for a full evaluation. Session 2: Resistance and Realization. I've been thinking about what you said last time, about ADHD. I don't know if I buy it. That's understandable. A diagnosis like this can be a lot to take in. But tell me, why are you skeptical? Because it feels like an excuse, like I messed up my life and now I'm trying to blame it on some disorder. Maybe I just need to try harder. I hear that a lot from women who get diagnosed later in life. But ADHD isn't about effort. It's about how your brain is wired. If your brain processes information differently, no amount of trying harder will change that. It's not about making excuses. It's about understanding yourself so you can find strategies that actually work for you. But I was fine before. I mean, yeah, I forgot things, but I wasn't struggling this much. Because you had external structure. Labib handled the finances. You didn't have to manage a job. You didn't have to juggle bills, appointments, responsibilities all on your own. Now that you're in charge of everything, your symptoms are becoming much more apparent. So what? You think my whole life I've been, what? Just coasting through with undiagnosed ADHD? It's possible. Think about it. School, work, even relationships were probably harder for you than for others, but maybe you didn't realize it. Maybe you thought you just weren't trying hard enough, or that you were just bad at adulting. But in reality, your brain may have always been working against you. I don't know how to feel about that. It's a lot to process, but knowing this could actually help you. If ADHD is part of what's making life so difficult right now, then treating it could make things easier. How? What would even change? For one, there are strategies and therapies that could help you manage your time, stay organized, and reduce the overwhelm you're feeling. And medication, if you and your psychiatrist decide it's right for you, could help you focus and feel more in control. Medication? Like stimulants? I don't know about that. There are different options, and you don't have to decide anything right away. But ADHD medications have helped a lot of people regain control of their lives. It's not about turning you into a different person. It's about helping your brain work with you instead of against you. I guess I just don't want to feel like there's something wrong with me. Justine, there's nothing wrong with you. ADHD isn't a flaw, it's just a different way of thinking. And now that we recognize it, we can find ways to help you thrive. Session 3, taking the first step. So, I made an appointment with the psychiatrist. That's great, Justine. How do you feel about it? Honestly, nervous, but also kind of relieved. If this really is what's been holding me back my whole life, I don't know, maybe there's hope. There is always hope. This isn't the end of your story, it's just a new chapter. I guess I just want to feel like I'm not failing at life anymore. You were never failing. You were just trying to navigate the world without the right tools. And now we're going to get you those tools. Thank you. I don't say it enough, but thank you. You're doing the hard work, Justine. I'm just here to help you find the way. Mr. True Story, I don't know why I'm writing this, or if anyone will even care. Maybe I just needed to say it out loud. Maybe I just needed someone to listen. Maybe to warn other women who think they are missing something in their marriage. Maybe to tell them that before they make the same mistake I did, they should look at what they have and ask themselves if it's worth losing. Because once it's gone, there's no getting it back.
It's all on you. And the guy you cheated with, your ex-boyfriend, he's gone because he just wanted your money. He saw you had come up somehow, some way, and he wanted a piece of it. I don't know if he was on drugs, alcohol, I don't know, but he used you. This is what you asked for. You and it sounds like so you cheated in this man's house that he provided for you. Just disgusting. Just disgusting. I don't feel bad at all. Guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments. If you want to send in a story, or ladies, if you want to send in a story, send it to truestorynation@gmail.com. Here, I'll put it on the screen. That is truestorynation@gmail.com. We'll catch you guys at the next one.